To everyone reading the Thrive newsletter, I'm Nikki Bush, human potential and parenting expert, speaker and author. It's been a long, long year, hasn't it? What did they say? January, February, March, COVID, December. We're all tired of social isolation, of being on a screen. We're over lockdown. And while we may be done with COVID, I'm not so sure that COVID is done with us. So I'm going to share with you a few ideas that I am doing with my own life to reboot and re-energize myself for the last quarter of 2020. The first is about reevaluating how we make decisions. So often we do this in a rut. How about you think about all those things you're doing that you might not be so sure you should be doing? Write them down in the left-hand column on a piece of paper in landscape. And then the first column will be how much money are you making from this activity? The next one is how much of your time is it taking up? And then the last two columns are about passion and interest. Give yourself a mark out of 10 and see whether you are really doing what you should be doing. And I found it very easy to cross things off my list if they're not making me money, if they're wasting my time, and I'm not interested or passionate about them. And by the way, there's a big difference between passion and interest. Go and see for yourself. And then go and do Marcus Buckingham's Standout Strengths Assessment. So often we focus on the negatives in our lives. Go and look at what's positive. What is the gift that you bring to all of us, to your team? I did it, and I came out as a creator teacher. Now, there are many, many different profiles here. There's the connector, the influencer, the pioneer, the advisor, the provider, the stimulator, the equalizer, and of course the teacher and the creator. You will be a mix. Two will come up for you. And I have found it to be spot on both for me and for my team. So refresh yourself with a new profiling technique. And then we have imposter syndrome. We have that inner critic that eats away at us, telling us we're not good enough. This is time to shake your sillies out, and I am doing the morning pages, which is a tool from Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way. I looked at that book 20 years ago, hauled it out of my bookshelf recently, and started doing this. 3 pages of long handwriting every morning, first thing in the morning. Write anything you like. Don't judge it. As it comes out of your head, write it. Whether you are praising yourself or whether you are whinging, whining and complaining or just writing, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. Eventually something will happen. I promise you it will unblock you. It's a great, great exercise. They say that motion shifts emotion. So why not go for a walk or a hike? So many of these walks and hikes have opened up again and the weather is good. So get your hiking boots out or your tackies on and go for a walk with yourself or your family. I recently went to the wilds in Johannesburg, which has been redone, and it was beautiful. And I had the absolute privilege of walking through the Kruger for 3 days recently. Amazing to be in nature with the sun on my skin and the wind in my face and not being in front of a screen. And we also get into bad habits, or boring habits, should I say, of always eating the same things, cooking the same recipes, buying the same stuff, eating the same dish at a restaurant. Try something new. And what about the viewing diet? We are all watching TV a lot more than usual. Many of us watching cable TV on Netflix. Why don't you have a look at what's on somebody else's profile that you're not seeing? Because there's an algorithm, you know. Netflix just gives you more of what they think you want. It's very refreshing to watch what everybody else is watching because it won't be offered to you. And then how about creating a side hustle or making or creating something new? If COVID has taught us anything, it's that we need to have multiple streams of income. A friend of mine had 5 lemon trees that were producing fruit during lockdown. So she became the master of anything that had lemon in it. From marmalade to lemon curd. She didn't create a business out of it, but another friend of mine created a juicing business. And that's become a side hustle. Somebody else has been doing gaming video reviews for money. So what is it that you've been doing or could do that you've never ever done before? How about going without a list for a day? Oh, this is hard for me. I'm a list queen. But on a Saturday or Sunday, I try and go list free and take my hands off that steering wheel for just a day. It's really very, very revitalizing. And socialize safely. Of course, we love our friends. We've got this desperate need to see people. We have to do this safely. Obviously, masks, sanitizing, all of those things. But now we can go out to restaurants and support the economy, or go with friends for a hike or a walk. That's a great way to boost that sense of togetherness and belonging that we really have been missing. And how about keeping perspective? If you can keep perspective, you can reframe circumstances in your life, and we so need to do that at the moment. So I am sharing with you in this newsletter a link to a blog on my nikkibush.com website. Please go and do the Collateral Beauty versus Collateral Damage Challenge. All of us have been challenged with COVID, with lockdown. All of us have walked a path of grief, loss, and trauma. I understand this so clearly because I lost my husband tragically 3 years ago. So I spotted this grief, loss, and trauma in everybody right at the beginning. So this exercise is really going to help you keep perspective. You fold a piece of paper in half, you write down all the negatives on the one side about COVID, all the positives on the other side. Stream of consciousness, don't judge them. I did this after my husband's death. I wrote down 2.5 pages of negatives, and this was about 9 months later, of course. And then I did the positives, and I got to 5 pages of positives. It is amazing. If you open up your mind and your eyes to possibility, you will see a roadmap for your future sitting under the collateral beauty side of the page. I've done it for COVID too, and just like everybody who shares this exercise with me, I come up with twice the number of positives as negatives. So please go and do that exercise and regain some perspective. I hope that these ideas and activities are going to fill your cup and going to boost you and revitalize you for the last quarter of this year, kicking in that immunity, mood, and resilience that is so important. May you have a bumper last quarter of 2020.